Everyone, welcome to Phytohuman classes. So this is my first lecture on Phytohuman classes. So as I told you, I will teach you NCERT Botany for IPE, and these videos are also helpful for NEET definitely. So let me start the first concept of the biology, that is the living world. Okay, so let me start the lecture. So the first thing is we need to know what is living. How do you define an organism is a living thing or a non-living thing? So there are some specific terms and the factors which will determine an organism as a living thing or a non-living thing. Okay, so the first factor is growth. So all living organisms will grow in size and mass. Okay, all living organisms will grow in size and mass, but also the growth is also seen in non-living things as well. Okay, non-living things also will grow and the living things also will grow. So what is the major difference between that? So in living things the growth is from inside. So as we know, the cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. So the cell contain the potential or the energy or the growth determining factors which are responsible to cell to grow in size as well as mass. So the growth is from inside. The signals produced in the cell are from inside. Okay, that is about living things. But in non-living things there is also a growth, but that is peripheral growth. That is, for example, if you take a mountain, about 1000 to 2000 years later it will grow in size as well as mass, but the thing here is the growth is from outside. That is, the sand particle or the dust or the rocks that will be deposited on the surface of the rock, but the growth is from outside. So this is a major difference between growth of living things and non-living things. So definitely the growth is not a good consideration for living thing. So let us discuss another factor that is determining living thing. Okay, so the next thing is reproduction. Before going to reproduction, we need to know is dead organisms does not grow. Okay, so another point is reproduction. So non-living things they do not reproduce, but living things they will reproduce. Reproduction in the sense production of progeny, that is nothing but production of offsprings. For example, if a plant produces a fruit, it contains the seed. If you sow the seed in the soil, it will produce a plant. This is nothing but a reproduction. Okay, the plant is producing another plant, that is nothing but reproduction of the progeny or offspring or children or next generation, that is reproduction. So basically there are two types of reproductions are seen in the living organisms. One is sexual reproduction and another one is asexual reproduction. So we will discuss these terms clearly in the next videos. So just to remember these words, sexual and asexual reproduction types. Okay, so another factor that is determining the living things is metabolism. So metabolism also defines the living thing. So what is meant by metabolism? So let us have a look on this definition. Sum total of all the chemical reactions occurring in a body of a living organisms is nothing but a metabolism. Okay, for example, if you take a plant, the plant will perform photosynthesis, respiration, it will produce the food and it will exchange the gases. All these comes under the metabolism. That is nothing but in every reaction there is a biologically occurring chemical reactions. These are all nothing but together called as metabolism. Okay, if you consider a human body, we will having circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system, etc., but they all work together and perform many chemical reactions a second. So these are all comes under metabolism. So there are several types of metabolisms are seen, anabolism and catabolism. I will also explain you in detail in the next video. For the time being, you just revise the terms in this video. So non-living things, they do not exhibit metabolism. That is the thing here. Non-living thing, they do not perform any metabolism. Okay, that is the point to be noted. It is a defining feature of all living things. So non-living things, they do not perform metabolism. So definitely the living things will perform metabolism. So that is a defining feature of all the living things. So cellular organization of the body is a defining feature of life forms. As I already told you, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. So cellular organization of the body is a defining feature of life forms. There must be unicellular, or it may be multicellular. Anyhow, if the cell reproduces and is metabolically active, that is considered as a living thing. Okay, next factor is consciousness. So what do you mean by consciousness? As we know, ability to sense environment and response to stimulus. For example, if you touch the touch me not plant, it will fold the leaves inwards. It is nothing but the consciousness. The stimulus is we are touching the plant, and the response shown by the plant is it folds the leaves inwards. It is the response. So that is nothing but a consciousness, ability to sense surroundings and response to environmental stimuli. So the consciousness may be the response, or the stimulus may be physical, chemical, or biological. Okay, that may be anything. So that is consciousness. So finally we need to define a living thing. So how do you define? This is the thing we are going to define. Living organisms are self-replicating. That is, they will self-replicate, they will multiply themselves, or they will reproduce themselves. Okay, and they are evolving in the sense, the first prokaryotes are formed in the evolution, and later there is a formation of eukaryotes, and next further process, they developed into multicellular body structures, and finally organ system body structures, etc. So living organisms are self-replicating, they will replicate themselves, and they are evolving, self-regulating, and interacting system capable to respond to external stimuli. So this is the way we will define the living organisms. Okay, just you can note down this point. Okay, so next one is biodiversity. So what do you mean by biodiversity? So just you split the words bio and diversity. Bio means life. Okay, diversity means different forms. Okay, different forms of anything. So biodiversity, when you put together, that is different forms of life, how the life exists on the earth in different forms. So this is nothing but kinds of living organisms on the earth. So let me tell you, there are about 1.7 to 1 million species are described or discovered scientifically. So there are about nearly 20 to 30 million species are present on the earth. Approximately we doesn't know the number, but currently till today there are about 1.7 to 1.8 million species are being described. Okay, so we are confused with lots of those species. It's not easy task to identify those 1.7 to 1.8 million species. So usually you may be confused with the plants and animals names with their local names, right? So when you go to some other place or a other country, you may be confused with the names of the plants or animals here and there, right? So to avoid that confusion, what we need to do, right? How we can avoid this confusion? So we need to classify the plants or animals or living things based on some characteristics. So that we will be going to discuss in the next video. That is classification of living things. So by these things, today we learned what is living and what are the factors which we use it to determine the living, and in the next video we will discuss classification of living things. So subscribe to my channel, your Sai Kumar. Thank you.